Hello, and welcome to the Knit Girls. You know you still have your glasses on, right?
I do.
Okay. This is episode 499. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It's September something.
The 4th.
Okay, September the 4th.
Mama Linneman's birthday's in 2 days.
Aw. How old will Mama Linneman be?
She was born in, 55, I think.
Well, so was my mom. I think we've had this conversation before.
Yeah. So, I feel like that's wrong, though.
Why?
I don't know. Feels like Mama Linneman's not that old. Also, she's going to kill me now. Although it doesn't feel like I'm almost 40, so...
Wow. I mean, that's a totally different animal. That's not the same thing at all.
Oh my. What are you working on, friend? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I can go. I really don't have a ton to talk about this week. I kind of feel like every episode for the last couple months I've started that way, but
I feel like there is, and I also feel like you are crocheting the largest thing known to man, like, I mean, that house cozy.
That is also possibly true. So I'm crocheting squares right now. It's very exciting. I've moved on to a purple color.
Ooh, I mean, you do different colors every week, so it is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
What's the name of that one?
Plum.
It's a good purple.
So, I'm crocheting that. They're just granny squares, 3-run granny squares. I did knit a tiny bit on the Shadow Lines shawl. I finished the 2-color brioche section, but that's it. Like, I think that was like 10 rows since last week. That's it. That's all I got. And actually, I think that's all the knitting that I have. Let me click and see. Yep, that's it. That's all the knitting that I've got. I've got a little bit of sewing that I'll talk about later, but that's all the knitting that I've got.
Okay.
So,
did you want to expand on your Afghan at all? Did you bring up your
sort
little
of.
spots?
I didn't, but so for finished objects this week, I finished 2 colors of the Afghan. So the Afghan is going to be, I think it's called Giant Granny Patches. It's just a series of granny squares in complementary colors in this sort of random scattering. And they're all kind of neutralish. I took out 2 or 3 colors actually and added some more neutrals to it. So I think I've still got 5 colors left at this point. But so this week I did the pink here and then this like mocha color. So
how many colors do you have done?
9, I think.
And you're going to do like 15?
So this is 10. 15 or 16. I don't have the paper up here, so I can't remember, but something like that. And yeah, so I'm just I got all the colors that I need now. I think I'm gonna lay them all out once I've done all the squares that I have, and the pattern comes with like a suggestion if you're indecisive like me and you don't know what needs to go where to make it look nice. It comes with an outline that you can use.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I'll do.
And you're using what yarn?
Oh, it's 100% acrylic. It is impeccable.
I mean, that's perfect for a blanket.
Mm-hmm. It's called Impeccable. It's the Loops and Threads, which is the Michael's Craft Store brand. And it has the advantage of being inexpensive. It comes in a billion colors. And it's Like, it's commercially dyed, so the dye will hold fast. I don't have to worry about that. And yeah, it's like $4 a skein or something like that. It's very reasonable.
Very cool. And what size hook are you using?
5mm, which I think is an I. Like the letter I think.
Got a nice handle on it, looks like.
Oh, it's super fancy. It's ergonomic. It's got a little jelly handle. This cost me like $5.
Aww.
Yep.
Cool.
And
are you keeping that blanket, or are you giving it away? I can't remember.
Probably not. It'll be too warm for me. Like, it would have to be the apocalypse for me to need this blanket. So I probably will give it to Michael's stepmother, Carol.
Be a good Christmas present.
Yeah. So, because she likes handmade items, so that's probably what I'll do with that. What about you? What have you been working on?
I have one item on the needles, and it is a pair of socks on a plane.
That's not true. You have... Oh, did you finish your thing? You finished your thing! I didn't see that.
So, I have this one pair of socks on the needle. This is the second one. The first one is over here. I'm going to finish these next and then cast on something new, I think. I really want to knit some pumpkin baby hats. I'm totally in the mood. And I bought some Rios in like the glazed carrot colorway, so I'm excited about that. But anyway, socks on a plane out of Long Dog Yarns. I got this yarn at Stitches United, not this past May, but the May before. So it's like a year and a half old. And yeah, so this is the first one. Making some progress on the second one tonight. I've actually been getting in a good bit of craft time because Tour de France started, like the actual bicycling race, and I paid so that I could watch it when I felt like watching it versus at 6 a.m. when I was at work. Mm-hmm. So I've been watching it when I get home from work and crafting some. So I have some progress on another thing, but yeah. This was my main thing that I started working on this week. It is knit on size 0 needles that I am magic looping. It is a free pattern called Socks on a Plane. And yeah, I'm excited to get a new pair of socks. I haven't knit socks for me for a while. My last couple of pairs have been for other people. Like for my mom, my dad, and then my friend Becca. So it's going to be fun. Oop, I need a cable. It's going to be fun to get some socks done for me. Some new socks. So yeah, that is... And I love the little like pops of neon that are happening in this yarn.
Yeah, it is pretty. I like it a lot.
I wish I could remember the name, and I lost the tag when I wound it. So yeah, I'm sure the tag will turn up. They usually do. Usually my dog is like shredding them, and that's how I find them. She would never do such a thing, actually.
Never.
She's laying right behind me because she is feeling poorly. And so she, and has been feeling poorly since Tuesday. So she's been having some digestive issues, which has made her mommy feel poorly as well. But,
because mommy has to clean up the results of those digestive issues.
Especially on days that mommy has to go to work. I did take off yesterday. I'm using that term very loosely. I basically worked from home yesterday with a sick day accounted for, but it all worked out. And I'm kind of glad that I was home because we did have a positive COVID case at my work yesterday. So that was stressful for the teachers involved in that and the students involved in that. But there was a plan in place and it was followed. And so everything's back to normal today. Finished objects. I finished the bounce blanket. I need to weave in the ends and block it. It looks like this.
so surprised you finished it so quickly because you had just switched to that dark blue on Sunday, I think.
I had switched to this turquoise on Sunday.
Okay, the fourth color.
Yeah, I got through the fourth and the fifth. Each repeat takes me around an hour. So once I sat and was like watching the tour, because the tour's around 5 hours a day, with commercials, I made some decent progress for sure. I'm gonna try to block it a little bit wider. It's around 32 inches wide, but we'll see. It is a superwash merino, so this was a gradient kit in shades of turquoise from Neighborhood Fiber Company. It comes in 720 yards, which is 10.7 ounces in their Studio DK base. I showed it to the person who's receiving it yesterday because she was one of the teachers that was affected. So she was having a really crummy day, and I was like, would you like to see a gorgeous baby blanket? I will show it to you. So I have a whole skein of the layer left over. That's this green color, so 275 yards. And then I have, which is 4 ounces, which is what, around 110 grams?
I have no idea. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. And then leftovers. I have leftovers of all the blue shades. And all together, they come to 70 grams. And then I have this wee little bit of green leftover, which is around 10 grams. So I am going to make some kind of baby sweater. I was looking at...
Oh, that's what those links were that you sent.
2 of them yesterday, which were... Hold on, I got off of Ravelry. Let's see.
One of them was like a Fair Isle yoke that looked like knitted stitches, and the other one was kind of like a V, like a chevron.
So, one of them was a Little Forager. I'll add these to the show notes, which is by Knitting Expat. And that one is available in 7 sizes, and it is around $14 US, 10 pounds, Great Britain. And then the other one that I was looking at was Little Cameo, which is by, Little Camaro, Camaro. And that's by Tanis Fiber Arts. And that one has like a deep, like chevron V that's created through short rows and multiple colors. I really like the look of that. I don't know that I really want to do short rows though. So I have to, and I don't have as many colors as the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for 7, and I have 5.
I think that would be fine though. I wouldn't worry about that part.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about that. So yeah, and that one's sized from 0 to 6 up to 6 to 8, and the price point on that one is $7.50 US dollars. So yeah, I have to make a decision between the 2 of those. I'll go ahead and add the Ravelry links into the show notes.
And where could we find those show notes?
They can be found at TheKnitGirlls with 3 L's.com. Yeah, so that is my next decision, I think, because I think it'd be super cute if there was a little like baby sweater to go with the baby blanket.
It'd be like a layette.
Yeah, and my friend's not due. Baby J is not due until Thanksgiving in the US, so the end of November.
And this teacher is not just like an acquaintance; she's an actual friend.
No. She's a friend.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember meeting her at your Teacher of the Year thing.
Yeah, she sat next to Leslie at my Teacher of the Year thing, and my parents. She's a good friend, and like I eat lunch with her every day and stuff. Usually, this year has been a little bit different because I haven't really gotten a lunch. Like, I grab stuff as I'm working, if that makes sense.
And social distancing is
a thing. And we've been using the library to issue laptops, so it's not like there's been like parents in there and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not a space. So the teachers have been like eating in the cafeteria, like socially just like between the student tables. So, and spread out as well. Whereas I've just been eating back in my office as I approve holds that my kids have put on hold. So this morning I ran numbers because I was curious as to
because like, Laura loves a metric. Laura loves a metric.
So my students have checked out over 110 ebooks since the beginning. So we're about to start the 4th week of school. We just finished the 3rd week of school. So they've checked out 110 ebooks. They have had me check out over 1,000 library books and delivered to them. And they have placed over 3,000 holds, which is amazing. They're awesome.
Have the ability to compare your numbers against other library numbers?
I do not.
Oh.
But if it was a race, I'd be winning.
Oh, I know that. There's never a doubt that if there's a race and Laura's involved, Laura is the hare.
No, but I will tell you, like, I started checking out books to my kids the 2nd day of school, and a lot of librarians didn't start till like this week because they were issuing laptops and stuff. I had and textbooks. I didn't have, like, I did that before school versus during school. And my AP's handling, my assistant principal's handling the checking out of laptops now. So I just put them in the system. But he's the person who, because they have to connect to our server at school 3 times and then they can take them home. So he's the person walking the parents through all those steps, and they have it locked down where you can only change like the Wi-Fi settings from the start screen, not in settings, because settings is locked down. So he's the person handling all that kind of stuff. So it's allowing me to do what I like, which is talk to kids about books and check out books and deliver. I don't really like checking out books and delivering them. It's not my jam.
But it gets the books in the kids' hands.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. And then I get to talk to them about it. So that part's fun. I had some good conversations today with a bunch of 8th graders. Got to see 8th grade today. So yeah, I've updated the show notes, so those 2 links should be in there. I think that's about it for me and finished objects for sure. I do have some spinning that I've also been working on. And half of this is still, I'm almost done with the other half, but it's still on the wheel. I'm spinning this on my Daedalus Starling as part of my blanket. And I have this on the Lazy Kate, and I am too lazy to take it off. This is 4 ounces from Hello Yarn in the plain and leaves color, I believe. And then I have the second 4 ounces almost done. So these should be plied. These bobbins hold up to, I think, 16 ounces, roundabout, at least 12. This is the Starling XL. So I've been working on that as I've been watching the tour, because I get to like put my feet up and kind of just sit there and spin. So it is really nice, although I miss a treadle wheel. So I'll probably start working on my girl left me because she said I was moving too much in my chair. I'll probably start working on the matchless sweater spin again pretty soon, which I have 2 of those bobbins still in here. I just need to do the 3rd so I can ply that second 12 ounces. And then that'll be done. It'll be nice to finish up some projects. I feel like I started a lot of projects this spring maybe, and didn't finish a lot of projects this spring.
Well, maybe not the big ones like sweater spins, but...
Yeah, I mean, I did do around 2 pounds a month up until last month. Last month I spent a whole 4 ounces. But that's pretty typical for the first month of school.
Yeah.
It's fairly busy and chaotic in a good way, usually. I'm super proud of my kids for rolling with everything that's going on, and my teachers have been awesome. It's been a really exceptional start to school this year.
It's good.
I'm
very glad it's going well.
Yep. So that is it for me. What are you reading, friend?
Okay, so let me click the thing so I don't get any of this wrong. You are over the top of my show notes, so I can't see them.
Yeah, I made my things.
You're prepared and I'm not. I know.
Well, I have to know show notes, otherwise I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so this week, as far as reading goes, I was rereading the first couple books in the Tales of the High Court series, which was The High King's Golden Tongue and The Pirate of Fathom's Deep, or something of Fathom's Deep. And these are, well, the first one was a male-male romance. Second one was a male-male romance. Getting into the third, and now I'm on the fourth. The author is Megan Durr, and these are more gender fluid, maybe is a better word. So I'm going to apologize in advance if I get any of the terminology wrong. Please correct me because I don't want to be willfully ignorant. But the biological gender isn't always the gender of how these individuals identify. And it's just treated as the norm. It's not weird. They're not, they're just accepted as whatever they say their gender is, that's what they are. And so a lot of times, and I'm trying to break myself of this habit, but a lot of times if a character is referred to as he, then I just automatically assume they are biologically he. And you find out halfway through the book that they're not, and it takes you, a minute to readjust your thinking. For me, it takes a little bit to readjust the mental picture that I've made of this particular character. So it's really interesting. It's refreshing. I'm enjoying the series. This is the last one in the series, and it's called The Mercenaries of Silver Moon. So it's about like a kingdom and the court of a kingdom and battles and stuff like that. But it's really a refreshing. Megan Durr is really good at getting into your feelings sometimes. This one is just more, it's not quite as like, if you think about TJ Klune in the Green Creek series, where it's like right in your feelings the whole time, and it's like, you might cry 3 times through reading a book. It's not quite that deep, but it's a very good series, and I'm enjoying it.
The new TJ Klune comes out soon.
Which book is it?
The Last in the Green Creek.
Oh, okay.
Comes out next month, I think.
Well, that's good to know. I might have to re-listen to the third one to remember.
The last one, like the one prior to this one coming out, is my favorite, I think.
That's the one where they have the virus that they're dealing with, right?
Nope. It's the one where the main character is one of the guys from the garage, and he is kidnapped by the kind of like by whatchamacallit's father. The Gordo's father, and is taken to the enemy.
I'm going to pause you right there because I don't remember if I finished that one.
Okay.
So, I do remember that he was taken to their camp, essentially, and then brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember if I finished it, so...
Okay. Well, that one's my favorite.
Okay. I'm going to have to go back and look and see if I finished it. I can't always remember how things end, which is actually good for me because then watching it's like watching it again for the first time. Or listening or reading or whatever the case may be. So actually on that topic, I was re-listening to My Dad Wrote a Porno again.
For the 800th time.
Yeah, it's probably the 6th or 7th time I've listened to this series through. And then around the 5th season, which is the last one that's out, I have no idea when they're doing a new season. They explicitly didn't say because they were supposed to be on tour all of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course that's changed, but they haven't, as far as I know, they haven't listed like a when they're coming back thing. I wish they would, because it's right about this time they usually do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was listening to it and I was like, I've got to find some other like funny podcast to listen to. This is getting ridiculous. Like, I'm at the point now where I remember the individual jokes in the individual episodes. Like, I gotta listen to something else. So I started Googling, trying to find other series. I've tried No Such Thing as a Fish. It really wasn't my thing. Wait, Don't Tell Me isn't really my thing. My Brother and Me is on my list, but I haven't tried it. These are all like popular comedy podcasts. And so I ended up stumbling across one called Best Friends. And Nicole Byer, who is the comedian who's the host of Nailed It.
Yeah.
Who I've watched a couple of things that she's been in outside of Nailed It, but it's her and her best friend Sashir Zamata, and they just, it's just an audio podcast. They just talk to each other for an hour a week. They take like listener questions. Sometimes they take like those pointless quizzes that you find online. Like, what kind of dog would you be? Or what's your post-apocalyptic...
Woolery keeps posting stuff like that.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be a little rambly. I mean, in the best way. Some of the, I will say it's raunchy. Like, it's not a show for kids. There's very explicit.
My dad wrote a porno.
Right. It's very explicit conversations between adults. So go into it knowing that. But like, I've laughed so hard I've cried listening to. I'm like 5 episodes in, and it's so good. And she also hosts another podcast where she does like guests, and it's called Why Won't You Date Me? But it's really funny. I'm listening to one now where it's her and Gadbury Sidibe, who was in Precious, an American Horror Story. What's that one show? Empire.
Yeah.
She's so funny, and I love listening to her. So just a recommendation. If anybody else is looking for a funny podcast, try out Best Friends with Nicole Byer and Sashir Zamata, or she also does a podcast where she interviews like celebrities, and that one's called Why Won't You Date Me?
Have you, I know you love Nick Offerman. Have you listened to his podcast with his wife where they interview people in bed?
No, I don't think so. I knew they had an audio book because we listened to part of that. I'll have to check that out. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they do, he and his wife do a podcast.
Megan Mullally.
Yeah. But I know you're a huge fan of them, so.
Yeah, I am. More his character on Parks and Rec than him individually, but they do share a lot of characteristics.
They do.
So, yeah, aside from that, I'm kind of listening to a sci-fi book. So Audible last week started this thing called Audible Plus, which is kind of like Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
Sort of, where they have this rotating catalog of audiobooks that are sort of included temporarily with your membership, so you can listen to as many as you want.
But you don't get credits anymore, right?
Yeah, you still get credits.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you want to own anything forever, you have to use a credit.
Yeah.
But if you want to, listen to anything in their Audible Plus catalog, then you can do that without using a credit. But if you cancel your membership, you lose that out of your library. So it's kind of like Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
So I'm trying out one of the sci-fi books there. I'm not far enough into it really to talk about it. It's just science fiction, Cthulhu-esque apparently, something about dormant genes having mutative powers. We'll see. What about you? What have you been reading?
I haven't been reading anything because I've been watching The Tour a whole lot. Like, if I get home at 5, which is pretty normal, then I watch The Tour for 5 hours and then I go to bed and I wake up and repeat. I did start Booked for Murder by R.J. Blaine. It's an adult male-female paranormal type deal. It has aspects where people kind of have like superpower type things that they can do, and someone's it's getting a little political, which is not what I signed up for. I signed up for fluff.
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped at that point, but I need to go back to it. But yeah, I'm excited when there are no longer people in my library. Not that I'm excited that there are no people in my library,
Right.
but when I'm pulling books after the people leave, then I can listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Which will be nice. Because I have a bunch of kids and YA audiobooks that I want to get through. But when people are around there talking and it's distracting to me.
Yeah.
I can't just put it on my Bluetooth speaker at work and just go with it. So yeah, that's the plan as soon as people are gone. I jokingly told my AP he was getting an eviction notice this week. So which I don't mind him at all. It's been fine.
It's just an adjustment.
Right. It is. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has been. Because he's new too, so we're finding our ways too. Because anytime you get a new boss, I feel like this is in any position.
For sure.
You gotta kind of
find your way. You have to feel each other out, and, learn each other's sense of humor and how they operate, that sort of thing. So yeah, very normal.
So that's what I've been up to. Our Halloween Craft All the Things starts soon on September 15th. It's right around the corner. That's in 11 days. I'm super excited about that because Halloween is the best holiday. I was just telling Leslie that before we started. It is my favorite.
She told me that we have a deadline when we have to be finished by because she's getting a fat squirrel bag, dang it.
I'm gonna try. For sure. I have an alarm set on my phone. I want the caps and the costumes one, the sock one, so we'll see. If not, I'll be sad, but I'll survive.
You will, yeah.
But yeah, after I finish these socks, I'm gonna do a bunch of Halloween socks. So, because I counted the other day, I think I only have 9 pairs of Halloween socks.
Only 9 pairs?
I know, I need more.
That is a travesty.
I know, right? I need a whole month of Halloween socks.
You and Amy Florence with her Christmas socks.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get there eventually.
Probably.
I definitely have the yarn to do it. I just bought more Halloween yarn from No, yeah, I did buy Halloween yarn from Nomadic. Because she came out with Hocus Pocus colorways. Yeah. So I got 2 of them. I did not get 4, even though I wanted all 4. I was like, Leslie is going to be like, what are you doing? And then I also got a skein of Halloween yarn from I Am Fully Spun. So, but that's me wait to knit a hat out of, or wristers. I think I might do wristers because I already have a Halloween hat from hand spun that I spun out of some of wool pierogies back when dying for, what was that? Moonshine,
yeah.
So, yeah.
That was SSK year 1.
Was it year 1? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yes, it was.
That's amazing. And I'm also in the mood to read all the Halloween books, so I think I might start Pet next. Not that that's a Halloween book, but it does have monsters. I'm excited. I have all these Mary Downing Home books to read. I book talk Small Spaces, and I have like 40 holds on it right now, which makes me super happy. It's also the #1 checked out book for my library, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, the scarecrows keep getting closer and closer.
Is it like the angels in Doctor Who?
Yes! Okay. So, Small Spaces is a middle grade book. It's by the same lady who wrote like The Nightingale and the Bear. I think. Anyway, she wrote adult books, and then Catherine Arden is her name, and then she wrote this book. And it is about a little girl whose dad is raising her because her mom has passed away. And so and it's a recent loss, and so she's kind of mad at the world. She's quit the after school activities that she normally does, and she rides her bike down by the river, and she sees this woman crying hysterically trying to throw this book into the river, and she snatches the book out of the woman's hand and takes off on her bike. And she loves to read, and that night she starts reading it, and it's a journal of this woman, a diary of this woman who lived in the area like 150 years prior. And it tells the story of how this woman was torn between two brothers, and the brothers got into a fight, and one of them walks off into a snowstorm. It takes place in Connecticut, and no one can find him, so his brother takes off after him, and he makes a deal with this magical creature to bring his brother back.
Always a bad idea.
Always a bad idea. So she's been up all night reading this journal, and the next day her father forces her to go to school, even though she doesn't want to, because there's a school field trip to the local farm, like the pumpkin farm type farm. So they all get on the school bus, and the school bus driver is a sub. It's not their normal school bus driver, and he's a little bit odd. And she offers him part of her sandwich, which is always a good deal, to offer strangers part of your food and make that bond. So she gets to the farm, and she's walking around, and she sees the gravestone of the woman who's the author of the book.
Journal, yeah.
Of the journal. And every time she turns around, the scarecrows, there's all these scarecrows, and they keep getting closer and closer and closer. And she's pretty freaked out. She gets back on the bus. She's in trouble because she wasn't supposed to be over in the graveyard. She gets back on the bus with all her classmates. The bus gets halfway to the school and then breaks down. And the teacher leaves them with the bus driver and goes to get help. And the scarecrows seem to get closer and closer and closer.
This has become a book talk.
I know, right? And the bus driver tells her if she wants to survive to the next day, she better run. So she and 3 of her friends take off. And it's a good horror book. And there's a second one called Dead Voices with the same characters in it. But anyway, then that one came out last August. But yeah, it's a good book. And I'll have kids come up to me in the hallway and go, and the scarecrows kept getting closer and closer and closer. And I'll be like, there's one right behind you. It's fun. It's a fun, because middle schoolers are at that age where they like that little bit of creepy. I loved Fear Street when I was in school. Loved Fear Street.
It was scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah, well, that got checked out of my library today because the movie came out last year.
Oh yeah, I never saw that.
Still, and Fear Street's super popular. Goosebumps is still super popular. All the Mary Downing Hawns are super popular. So we enjoy a good horror read. The Jumbies is super popular. That's a good one by Tracy Baptiste. Yeah, there's some good ones out there for sure. And there's one that's coming out called Hide and Seek, which is on my want to purchase for the school Amazon wish list. That looks really, really good. See, I don't mind kids' horror books, but you put me in a horror movie and I am done.
Yeah. Laura can't watch anything that's too cringy, where the characters get embarrassed or do embarrassing things too often. I cannot
get past that second episode of Schitt's Creek where he's putting his hand in the food. Oh my gosh, no, I cannot do it.
Yeah, so she can't do that. She doesn't do horror of any kind if it's adult, if it's Yeah,
I've done Haunting of Hill House and some other stuff. I get mad though at some horror, The Ring. I'm like, why are you still doing this thing that you know is going to end poorly? You need to stop doing this. Why are you running into that house with the bloody handprints on it? This is a terrible plan.
See, I'm not much for things like Halloween or
Blair Witch.
Anything where it's I know it's mostly the gore that's scary. I don't care so much about that. it's more the psychological horror that, like, Get Out or Us or oh god, what was the other really good scary movie?
I do like the original Haunting of Hill House. That book's good too.
Well, are you talking about the Catherine Zeta-Jones one?
No, I'm talking about the one that was filmed prior to that.
Okay. Well, I don't remember that one, but the did you watch the series, the Netflix series that came out last year or this year?
I think it came out over a year ago. I have not.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this, like, the main character, well, one of the main characters, the mom, I forget her name, but in the series she wore a lot of these, like, fancy like peignoir robes, like empire waisted robes, like nightgown type things. Yeah. And it looked so comfy, and they were just so beautiful, and they, like, stuck in my head for some reason, which is a rare thing for costuming to remain in my head. But I've been looking for a pattern for something like that and haven't found anything yet. But anyway, talking about patterns.
Oh yeah, you have sewing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually done any sewing, but I've done a lot of the prep work. So sewing is never as simple as just buy fabric, step 2, sew. It's like, buy fabric, finish the edges so that they don't fray, wash the fabric, dry the fabric, iron the fabric if necessary for cutting, lay the fabric out, lay all the pieces out on the fabric in the right, like, organization, and mark the fabric, cut the fabric, transfer marks from the pattern to the fabric.
Yeah.
So, and then finish the edges of all the pieces if necessary. Then you can start assembly. Like, there's a lot of prep work. So what I'm working on right now is the Ophelia overall.
Oh, those are cute.
So
in your ugly fabric?
Yes. I'm doing sort of an informal sew along with our friend Jessie. And she's using, her fabric is like ugly cute too. It's like this floral mixed with this, like, ticking striping fabric. So it's going to be really interesting. So this is my fabric. I'm not mixing them. She's mixing them, but mine is just this sort of terrible, well, for this pattern, I think it's terrible, but I'm doing it anyway. It's this check sort of plaid, sparkly.
It is very sparkly.
Fabric. There's so much going on. There's so many colors in this. Plus there's, like, an underlying honeycomb texture. Plus there's, like, pinstripes of sparkle. So there's a lot happening in this fabric.
There is a lot happening in that fabric.
And I can't wait to make these because I hope they're atrocious and I'm going to wear them everywhere.
I cannot wait for you to make these other.
So I've got, all the little pieces and transferred all the markings from the pieces. I'm trying to find a decent example of that. I'm not doing any modifications on this set. I'm treating it like a muslin.
Yeah.
Like, there are options where you can lengthen or shorten. I'm not doing any of that initially. I just want to sew it as designed first, and then I can make modifications if I want to. But the size, like, schematics and everything are close enough to what my actual measurements are that I think it'll fit relatively well. Assuming that I actually sew it correctly. My one complaint with this, so this is a pattern by Helen's Closet. Okay. No, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's a pattern by Decades of Style. Decades Every Day. And my one complaint is that, so I bought the digital version. Usually there's an option you can get the digital version or the print version, sometimes both. But most of the time when you buy a digital version of a garment, you have the option when you print to the sizes are separated in layers. So you can, using like Adobe Acrobat or any basic PDF printer, you can uncheck any layers that you're not using. Like, I could get rid of size 0 through 20.
Yeah.
So that when I, print a pattern, I don't have all these markings for sizes that I'm not going to use. Like all these different colors are for different sizes. But for some reason, this particular pattern does not have that option. So that if I had a complaint, it would be that. Aside from that, the directions are very thorough. At least it looks like it on the first walkthrough. I haven't actually sewn anything yet, so we'll see. I'm hoping to do some sewing this weekend. I don't know how long this will take, so I would like to say I'll have them done next week. We'll see. I also would like to cut fabric for my pinafore, the York pinafore with the triangle fabric that I got in Scotland.
Yeah.
It's ready. It's downstairs on my kitchen table laid out. I just need to
get it
actually
done.
Mark it and transfer markings and cut it and all that sort of thing. So we'll see if that happens. We have to go take Kobe tomorrow to mow my father-in-law's yard because he's in his 70s. He's too old to be out there mowing grass.
Yeah, it's like 100 degrees here still.
So we're going to do that tomorrow, I think. But aside from that, I don't really have plans this weekend. So hopefully I'll get a couple hours at least to sew.
Yeah. Are you off for Labor Day?
I am off for Labor Day.
Cool.
Oh, and you want some more good news? This is not relevant to anybody who watches the podcast, but my friend Alan is back at work. Yay!
Yay! That's so exciting because he had been on furlough since March, right?
Yeah, so it's funny because Alan was my husband Michael's, one of his best friends growing up, since he was in like 3rd grade or something. And then my husband and I, we met at our place of employment. We actually worked in the same department for years and years. And once he got hired, there was a position open, and he, recommended his friend Alan, who he got hired on. So Alan he was one of my direct reports for a little while. But then when we moved to Atlantic City and then we moved back, he ended up looking for a corporate job versus a property specific job. And so I recommended him in our department. And so he came on, and now he lives in Las Vegas, although I don't think he's going to live there much longer. I think he's going to petition to move back soon.
Oh.
To this area.
He's working from home, and they're allowing him to work from home.
Well, everyone. They've closed down corporate offices, so you can't. I mean, you can go in to pick something up, but you're not allowed to work there.
Yeah.
So, and I think it'll change work from home policies at a lot of places forever.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I think he's going to petition to move back soon. I don't know when, but yeah, he was furloughed at the end of March, primarily because he was like not a senior, seniority wise, in the department. So, yeah, he's back as of today, and then he gets Monday off, which is hilarious.
And then he gets to be on call soon.
Very soon, like
for basically the next month. Alan gets to be on call.
He was talking to me about it today, and he's like, "Man, I go on call in just 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to remember everything by then." And I'm like, "Dude, the other guy who came back before you, he went on call 2 days after he came back. It's not a matter of whether you're ready." So now
you're on like 4-week cycle again.
Yeah, every 4 weeks. So
good.
I mean,
that's better than every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, before all this, it was every 8 weeks. So I think from now on, it just sucks. It's going to be every 4 weeks. I don't know that it'll ever get better than that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And you guys don't care about my on-call schedule. So.
All right, y'all.
Yep. We hope you have a lovely Labor Day. We hope that if you have the day off, you take some time to relax.
Self-care.
And we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.